Hello, welcome. You may be asking, we look different. There's different things going on. There is indeed. I'm joined today, me, Jokey Pants. I'm here with my good friend Cerebral Paul. He agreed to help me out with this one here. And we're with a very special guest, in case you couldn't tell, by the very fancy man sitting in our room right now, Mr. Johnathan Realz. How you doing today?
Hello. Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's always great to be on a podcast. It's my favorite thing to do.
Well, good. Because otherwise, we might have some issues being here. But so we have Mr. Realz on. He asked us, if we'd be open to doing an episode, and it's new for Oddcast to do it. I think the only person we've ever really interviewed is my own father. And that's just about different horror books he wrote. So this is a whole new ballpark, folks. So buckle up for this one.
Well, you should buckle up, because I'm here to tell you that you thought you were interviewing your father that first time. But today, it is in fact today, I am your father.
Oh God!
and that's why I wanted to call this meeting today, because I love you, son.
Oh God, I might cry on screen, guys.
Hey, I just got a message from the other guy. He said thank you because he didn't want to claim him anymore. By the way, he wants all the money he invested in you growing up. He says, if he's not yours, he put out way too much money. Yeah.
Funny thing is, my father Fiend Gotts, he would actually say that too. Like he would 100% be like, "Oh no, take him, please." So...
As any good father would, please take my child.
Fair.
Yes, of course. But yes. Well, it's good to be here, and I'm happy that we can be one big happy family, and it's always nice to make new friends and make new family members.
Well, especially the making new family members part. Yeah.
Oh, so for everyone who you might be unaware, what is the marks? What is it that we've even said that we agreed for here?
Okay, so
that's fair.
That's a very good question. So I reached out. I'm doing the rounds, I guess you would call it in the industry. I'm doing the press tour, as you would call it, where going around talking to different podcasts, because that's what you do in today's modern society, to promote my new film, The Marks. It's available now, streaming for free on Tubi. And it's also available on Blu-ray and DVD, but who buys those anymore? They're bulky, and they got you got to worry they get scratched, But yeah, it's available everywhere. You can consume it the ways of the 1900s, or you can consume it, the new found way.
Well, the cool thing is, if it gets scratched, you have a really nice looking coaster.
Oh yeah.
See?
There you go. Perfect.
It's all about your worldview.
That's
all
it.
about your worldview. Exactly. A nice shiny coaster. But yeah, so my new film, The Marks, is available now. It's a 90s comedy. I play Johnathan, which is a huge stretch for me.
It's such a stretch.
And I'm a video store clerk. In the 90s, which was my dream job as a kid. That's all I wanted to be when I grew up. Unfortunately, I became an actor, and it took becoming an actor for me to go full circle to become a VHS store clerk in the 90s. I had to either time travel or movies were the only option for me.
Well, I think time travel would have been more fun, but hey, to each his own.
You don't want to use the time travel loosely. You can cause problems.
I mean, maybe Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe just maybe all the weirdness that happens when things get all weird, and maybe the Mandela effect and all that weird stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just me trying
Yeah.
to work at a VHS store in the 90s all along, and I don't want to own up to it.
We've
Okay?
solved it. We've solved
We've solved
all
it.
the issues.
See, I would be a bad time traveler. I would time travel, see myself, and go, "What the hell were you thinking?" And then just disappear and just leave it at that.
You just show up, you walk up to yourself and go, no, and then leave.
Yeah.
No idea what for. That's for me to figure out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Destiny's problem now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think honestly it'd probably work out because it'd make you start going, is this the thing? Is this the thing I need to be worried about?
You'd be very cautious the whole time. Yeah. It's like,
I'll never be able to do anything.
And that's what it's like to have anxiety, ladies and gentlemen.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So now, with working at the video store for this movie, I did have a question.
Sure.
So, for towards in the opening, towards the beginning for this movie, we're shown that your character, he kind of puts out like the wrestling promotion tapes while he's giving other tapes. I just want to know, how awkward was it? And this is a question I don't think anybody ever asks. They're just like, yeah, whatever. But how awkward is it to do a scene of that nature where it's just, you have to not only name pornography, but you have to like list a bunch of different things in that category and like have a somewhat serious conversation, but at the same, like, is that something where like you get like an anxiety, like, I don't know if this is something I could just blurt these names, like, I don't know. Just something I was curious with.
To the real answer is I think there's various takes. I can't give too much credit, even though I did co-write the movie with the director Joseph Lavender. My scene partner was an incredible actor named Gunnar Willis, who played Sam in the film. And Gunnar is he's so funny, and he's got like such great instincts. And there were some definite moments of his improv that kind of came through, where quite honestly, actually I was a little awkward that day. That was the video store. The video store scene was one of the first days we were filming, and it was my first day filming as an actor on set. So there had been stuff already been going, but like I hadn't already started acting in the movie at that point. And that was my first day meeting Gunnar, who was supposed to play my best friend. And you know, you're kind of like it's kind of you're showing up to a new day of work.
Yeah.
You know.
God,
and so like you're having to
yeah,
and you're having to develop a level of like chemistry, and you know, oh man, they're best friends that are co-workers, and you have to have that kind of relationship. And Gunnar he was such a professional that kind of like every moment that he could see that I had a level of free time, he would come and start trying to talk to me about movies or something. Anything that like somebody that worked in a VHS store would typically talk about, you know, on like the job. What's your favorite scene in Star Wars? What's your favorite? Do you like Star Trek or Star Wars? That kind of stuff. Trying to, you know, that kind of, you know, getting into that kind of that mentality.
Yeah.
And it did create a dynamic that I do think eventually, I really think does shine through on screen. Gunnar is he's an amazing actor, and every time I can talk about that story, I always do, because it really helped me a lot. Like it helped me find where I wanted my headspace to be. And there was I actually think we redid some of my lines after we did some of his close-ups, because we were kind of goofing off during his coverage, where I was improvising and we had to like, I was off camera, I'm not even seen. And I'm kind of like trying to argue with him. And like, it helped build like a weird like energy.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's
Yeah, I gotcha.
redo Jonathan's close-ups. Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
no,
I gotta
that's
say,
really
as I was watching, especially that part, you guys definitely looked like you were having fun. I mean, you know, it was beyond just the
100%.
goofiness of hey, the keys to the back room, the bathroom, no, doesn't need a key, you know, type of thing, you know.
You know,
The poor non-grumpy, as you know, just like, wow, really? I think I went to that video store. I think I went to the video store.
Right.
yeah, I knew I recognized you. There's I don't know her name, but there's a young lady who's in the store, and that there's like a little close up of her face whenever I yell pornography, and she's got like this look, and she did an amazing job. Shout out to her. I'm not sure her name though.
What was that? You want to be in a movie? Here, stand here and listen to what we say. We're gonna do close ups.
When you're working on a project, a lot of times the stuff you don't think about is the number of people that have to be, you know, in the background.
Yeah.
You know, people call them extras. I've done extra work before. I definitely like to use the term background artist. That's the fancy term, you know, because when somebody there are some people that are very, very good at being in the scene and not having any type of like verbal communication, but they can help make or break a scene. So yeah, they're not an extra to me.
It's fair.
Or an artist.
I actually know of the character Paul on Cheers. He was always in the background at the bar, and he never had any speaking parts until further on. They said, "Hey, you know what? This guy does a great job. Let's get him involved." You know.
Yeah. So there's a little Easter egg that is in throughout the entirety of the Marks. So there is a background artist that is in the entire movie, and he's actually a character with a name, and nobody ever refers to him by name. But he's named in the film, but never by a human being. It's just for the audience to find on further rewatches. So there's a whole extra little character named Randy that's throughout the entire movie of Marks, and he's one of my friends that I met in my 20s working at a pizzeria, and over the years we stayed friends. And whenever we were working on the movie, I had put like a little post out on social media saying that if there were anybody that I knew that wanted to somehow, you know, even if it was just being in the background of a scene, wanted to be in this movie, let me know. And very few people let me know, and he was one of them.
I mean,
and when he showed up to set, he had such like a fun energy with everybody on set.
well, that's good.
And he made friends with everybody, crew. He was helping out. Like, can I help you? Can I help you? He was anything he could do. He was doing way more than he should. And he just kind of like became the mascot over a couple days where he was working. And then it was like, you know what? We're going to write this guy into the whole movie just because we need
That's
him
nice.
here. This guy,
Nice.
adds a level of fun that we just need here. And so yeah, so it was for the audience and for us.
That's
So be on the lookout for that
I
fun
enjoy
little
that.
Easter egg. Look for Randy.
Now I'm gonna have to go back through and like now I'm gonna have to pick that
And he's
out.
credited,
Like-
by the way. He's credited. It's very uncommon for you to get a credit for being a background artist, but we credited all of our background artists, and especially Randy.
Nice.
Now,
That's good if that's what they're trying to do, especially if they're getting on IMDb, and so at least
mean-
it doesn't say uncredited. What does that mean? You know, it's like
Exactly.
now speaking of extras and being on projects, you're also
Sure.
a man you've been on The Walking Dead. And that's
Yep.
another show that has many extras and things going on behind the scenes. So I imagine that's
That
something
was
that helped you there.
that was probably my that's probably my most recognizable thing that I've done. Although I will say there was another AMC TV show that I was on around the same time called *Halt and Catch Fire*,
Yes.
and that show, it did not get the viewership that it needed. It ran for 4 seasons. It's very good. It's like a hidden gem. It was like AMC knew they had something amazing, and they were just hoping the audience would eventually find it, and it never did. But it, yeah,
All right.
that's I worked on *Halt and Catch Fire*, and with a few other Walking Dead cast members, and we, as that show was ending, and we were losing our job on the show, we get fired on the show, and that was actually our last day at work, which was really. It kind of it felt very real, and we all went to work on Walking Dead right after, which was like a huge change of pace because it was we were all coders in a 1980s video game company, and then a couple weeks later we're in the apocalypse.
Wow.
Okay. But yeah, Walking Dead was a lot of fun. It was a really weird experience because you're going to work. I mean, I worked there for 2 years, and there were times where, during, the holidays where you're off and stuff like that. But like most of the time, that first year, you're going to work. People know that you're going to work on something, and you have to tell them, I can't tell you what I'm working on.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that was like a real, like, hush hush.
Yeah.
Nobody can know. Okay.
Yeah, like, and it's very, very serious. Like, it's
Damn.
even when I showed up on screen for the first time, after that, my contract stated that I was not able to go do any type of media that they didn't line up
Oh,
for
God.
Yeah, right.
in relation to The Walking Dead, for a year. Until I died on screen. Like, I had to be dead on screen for a year. Yeah, so,
Man, that's...
so I kind of forgot that I did the show for a little while, because I stopped talking about it, but like, so like I worked through the fall, and then it went to like holiday break, and then production comes back in the spring, and I, went home for the holidays, and then took a job running a camera for like some cheerleading competition in the spring, and my phone started blowing up while I was at work, and I was like, why is everybody texting? What is happening? Is there an emergency? And I was on The Walking Dead.
Oh.
And I had completely forgot.
Yeah, I was on that project, wasn't I?
Oh, yeah, I did do that, didn't I?
I didn't realize they had that year thing on the contract. I can't imagine being the actor who played Glenn going, I can't talk about this crap for a year until everybody sees it.
Now they sign him up. They're putting him out there. They're pushing him into the media appearances that they want. Right. They weren't doing that for me. They were going, unless we tell you to, you be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
And but the other thing about that is like how secretive everything is. You're not even allowed to physically. I was not allowed to physically hold a script.
Wow.
Yeah,
you had to.
Wow.
So they would have the printed copies, and it would be kind of like, oh, I'll let you look at it, and kind of like, I'll stand here with the notebook and I'll turn the page for you.
Wow.
And
I didn't expect that.
So they really wanted to control. They wanted to
Yeah.
make sure there were no leaks, and especially for this.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
So this is a pretty crazy story, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan is dyslexic, and
Oh, crap.
so
I did not know this.
He had a very difficult time dealing with the security protocols because he had I think it was a 7-page monologue that he had to do, And
Ooh.
how do you memorize 7 pages?
Yeah, that's. Ooh.
Well, especially
And-
if he's dyslexic, it takes him long to read it and comprehend it and all that stuff. And they're going, "We're going to stand here with you while you, like, no."
So yeah, it's a pretty crazy work environment.
I did not
But
know
yeah,
that about any of that. Holy cow.
But I mean, hey, the
Yeah.
leaks are crazy around there. Like
Right.
even with all of that
Fair.
security, there
Yeah.
were leaks. Like even
Yeah.
from, I would
Yeah.
at some point, I think we'd filmed 1 episode. So I was one of the trash people, aka the
Yep.
scavengers. That's the official term.
Yeah.
And we had filmed just the scene of the trash people popping out of the trash
Okay.
to be in the like mid-season finale. And
Yep.
just that scene being filmed had leaked onto the internet before we got to the scene where we were actually at the dumpster. Like we were filming that 2 weeks later.
Yeah. I
And
remember that.
before we could get to actually filming what we were, it was already leaked. And we were a brand new faction that was not in the comic book.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
I remember that making the rounds on the internet because it was something different that was going on. Okay.
Yeah. So it was one of those, yeah.
And
Now-
that's why they were so anal about it, right there.
Jesus.
And-
Like, I had no idea.
They're very, very strict about it for sure. Yeah.
Shit.
But it was a lot of fun. Do you want? All right, I have. This is a. I have never told this story, but since we're talking about The Walking Dead,
Whoa. All right. Here we go. Here we
I
go.
will tell you. I will tell you. This one's fun. So, executive producer Greg Nicotero. Greg Nicotero, fantastic director. He does not direct all of the high-profile episodes of The Walking Dead. Those are the ones Greg directs.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the names.
I mean, he's a horror legend. He worked special effects, on Army of Darkness all the way back in the 90s, and he's worked on stuff. I mean, he did special effects on all the Tarantino movies. Greg Nicotero is like,
okay.
he's the director that they have do stuff on The Walking Dead. So, it's typically finales and premieres, or if there's like some sort of just crazy intense zombie scene or something like that. So it was the season 7 finale. And that is like, for me, my most memorable episode. That's the episode where I have the umbrella. That's the episode for me. It's why I was cast, and they did not tell me.
Fair. Oh, really?
I did not
Okay.
know what I was cast for. When I got cast, I almost turned down the role because the wording in the email was, "Would you like to work on The Walking Dead?" And I said, "In what capacity?" And they said, "I can't really tell you that right now."
Nice.
But
and
it was somebody. But I'd already worked with the casting director on *Halt and Catch Fire*, and he said, "But I can tell you, it is something good." And I said, "Okay, I'll think about it." And I talked to my partner, and she told me that it would be stupid for me to not take the role. And
fair.
she said, "You're just gonna hold out and think maybe you'll get a better part after you told them no? No, just take the role."
Also,
Like-
if you were going that late into the run of the show, you already knew
Right.
that the show was big. I mean, this one.
Yeah. So I took it. We did, like I said, we filmed multiple days of stuff, and all I'm doing is standing around in like a trash group, and I have no clue what I'm doing, and I just keep showing up to work every day. And then eventually, it's the premiere, or not the premiere, the season finale.
Yeah.
And it's it's like I think that there's like 14 days of filming for this episode, which is okay because it's a big episode.
But I mean, that's fair.
And,
That's fair. A lot of moving pieces still.
And I show up to work on the first day, and as I'm showing up, I get carted off the little, transit from the parking lot inside the walls of Alexandria, and all of a sudden I just start hearing somebody yelling my name, and I'm like, what have I done? I just got here. Like, the sun just came up. Why are we, what have I done? And they're like, we've got to get you in costume immediately. And I'm like,
oh God,
what's going on? What's happening? And so they pull me to set, and that's when I get told about the Red Umbrella Scavenger and that character, and they bring me the script, and that's and so
what a start to the day.
So they showed me the few scenes that and what I'm going to be doing that day, and anyway, Greg Nicotero apparently thought my character was a stupid character. He thought it was a really dumb addition to the script, and he made it very clear that had nothing to do with me. He just thought it was a dumb thing, and he's like, I don't know which writer wrote this in, and he was boy, he was a bitchin'. He was
God.
he did not like that it threw off the color balance of every shot. He's like, oh my, like, there's red. Why do I have to have red in the shot and he would complain. Yeah, sorry, nothing against you, but nothing against you. But man, I hate that umbrella. And that was fine. And so that was my day, and we filmed that whole thing, and then I kind of go back to just kind of chilling, doing the background artist thing while they're filming some of the other stuff. It's a big battle day. Then they come and get me to film a scene that is definitely not in the show.
Oh God!
It is the last. It is the last shot of the day. They are running out of time. It's golden hour, and they're trying to shoot this scene with a lot of moving parts. They have a lot of blanks firing, a lot of explosions happening, a lot of squibs going off, and they only have enough time in the day to do 2 takes.
Oh, no.
And one of those takes is going to have to be the rehearsal. And when you have something so specific that had to be in the scene, like that red umbrella that Greg Nicotero hated so very, very much, that gets kept by what's called first team props. Now, first team props for season 7's finale, their job was very specific. They had to make sure Rick had his gun. They had to make sure that Negan had his bat. They had to make sure that Michonne had her katana, and they had to make sure that I had my red umbrella. And that was all first team props had to do that day. So it's the last shot of the day, and there's a lot of moving parts, and Greg is very, very stressed, and so is everybody else, because we can only do this shot twice. Once is going to have to be the rehearsal, but we're going to have to film rehearsal, and then we're going to film that second time, and then everybody has to go home because we cannot afford to keep this going any longer. But the first team prop master was nowhere to be found.
Oh, no.
And I am not allowed to touch anything that is not handed to me as an actor. So that means that my umbrella is sitting on that table and everybody is going, we have to roll. I am not allowed to pick that umbrella up. And everybody on staff knows that. And they're all going, can we get props here to give him his prop? Can we get props here to give him his props? We need someone to hand him the umbrella because it's union rules and I can't touch it. And they're very, very strict about props on a show where you have live weapons. So I'm standing there, Rick's gun, Michonne's knife, and the bat's there, and my umbrella's there, and no one's there to hand it to me. So a prop master that's not typically supposed to be there walks over and just picks it up and hands it to me, but he does something critical in that moment. He opens the umbrella.
Ooh.
And hands it to me. And I said, "Sir, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but my umbrella is not open at any point, and it is not supposed to be open in the script. I cannot close this umbrella because you handed it to me open. Please close the umbrella and hand it back to me." And he said, "Keep it open." And
oh no.
I said, I don't think it's supposed to be open. They're yelling, "We have to go, we have to go." So I go to my position on the other side of this hill, and we film this giant battle scene. And I come running up this hill with an open umbrella looking like Mary Poppins with
I was going to say that had to have a very parasol look to you.
Pistol in my hand, shooting, running with a red umbrella.
Wow.
I run all the way through. All the explosions happen. Everything goes off. I get to my end location. Greg Nicotero calls cut and begins
Oh no!
cussing out. He says, I need to know exactly. I don't know who handed you that umbrella. I know it wasn't your fault, but I need you to tell me exactly who it was. And if you don't know their name, I need you to point them out.
Oh, Jesus.
Unfortunately, I did not point them out. I was like, "I'll let you know if I see them." And I tried to skirt it around, but I never saw that person again. They definitely found them. The set photographer came up to me afterwards laughing so hard, and he said, "I want to let you know that when it's all said and done, I have pictures of you with that umbrella running down that hill." He's like, "When it's all said and done, see if AMC will license them to you. Please, they have to be seen. AMC will not give me those pictures. I have tried."
Oh, come on. Come on, AMC, come on. It's so fun.
Yeah.
God. Come on.
But there's probably some executive
They're there,
AMC that has a picture of you on their wall with a parasol again, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicotero has it. Nicotero has it on his wall, and he comes home every night and throws darts at it and be like, "This goddamn scene."
Wow.
I mean, listen, turns out he was right. It was going to be the bane of his existence. He knew on day one, 14 days of shooting, big battle scene, got to finally wrap this whole thing. And he knew it was going to bite him in the ass, and it did.
Wow.
Such a small little choice. Oh.
Well, and that prop guy probably got canned because that was a major screw up. I mean,
huge screw up.
Trouble. Oh. So we've talked Walking Dead. Now let's circle back around. Obviously the Marks itself is backyard wrestling, very fan inspired. What with that? I am a bit curious. We ask Mr. Johnathan here, what is it that you first found intrigued you to get into wrestling? Because I've definitely seen some talks with you about watching wrestling and things.
Yeah. So, okay. So that you have to go all the way back in my mind. So, you got to start at the beginning. We got to go all the way back. And
No,
whenever I was a
no
kid,
offense, but I'm not drunk enough to be in
you're
your
not drunk
mind.
enough for that. Okay. So when I was a kid, I would always watch professional wrestling with my grandfather, and whenever he was a kid, he would watch professional wrestling with his mom. All the way back
Wow.
whenever before Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Wow.
Way a long time ago. And so it's just kind of always been something that's I've been around, and there is a level of storytelling that I feel like is very, very unique to professional wrestling. The way that when professional wrestling is done correctly, when it's done right, when it's good, it's great, and there's a unique formula to it, and I think
I agree.
that unique style of storytelling was ripe for comedy. And because with professional wrestling, one of the best things that you can get is a twist, or as they call it in the business, a swerve. And with comedy is all about the twist, in my mind. A lot of times, though, comedy is very predictable as far as like what the plot is.
Yeah.
When you watch, the jokes may be original jokes, but the overall plot of the movie, you've got 4 or 5 different stereotypical plots that kind of get shoehorned into various different form factors.
Yeah. You don't want it to be completely able to, you can't tell right away what's going to be happening.
Yeah. So when Joe came to me about working on the Marks, it was originally a movie called Suplex.
Okay.
And it had already gone into production and failed early, like with his independent film studio, Black Flight Studios. And then he went on to make a couple horror movies, but he always had like a love of professional wrestling, but he just couldn't get the script off the ground. But then he had a couple movies under his belt and was like, maybe I want to circle back to it. And he knew that I had a history of writing comedy. And he also knew that I really loved pro wrestling and understood like how the narratives worked and how the plots worked and stuff like that. So he had me read the script and said like, is there anything to this? Maybe we can build something off of this. And he had the idea of, one of the biggest issues was locations with Suplex.
Okay.
The idea was that you wanted a guy to get, started, and it was very low level, and they work their way up and they become a pro wrestler, and it was difficult because you had to have venues and locations that went from small to large.
Yeah.
And he had the idea of, well, what if we zoomed out and went smaller? And and the idea was that a lot of people in the 90s, when they watched pro wrestling and they said, don't try this at home, they said, well, you don't tell me what to do. I'll try it at home if I want.
Yeah.
And so they did. So that's where backyard wrestling came from. And Mick Foley, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, will tell you that he was a backyard wrestler before he was a wrestler. He copied what he saw on TV. The Hardy Boys, they did the same thing. So there was something to that idea. And so we wrote a movie called The Mark, not The Marks, The Mark.
Okay.
And that was a movie about a guy named Mark who got sucked into this world of backyard wrestling by going into a VHS rental store and renting a tape from a clerk named Johnathan, who just happened to be a guy that like helped suck people into this backyard wrestling promotion. And like that was my entire role in the movie. I was not supposed to be in any way a larger character. But the movie went into production, and the some of the remnants of this original plot are actually still in the movie. There's the guy who comes to the store. His name is Mark, and he was originally the lead actor of the movie.
Okay,
But
that makes sense.
after
Yeah.
we had been in production for a little while, Mark, the actor who played him, Robbie, got out. He's typically a theater actor, and he was offered a theatrical role that he really, really could not turn up or turn down. And he said, he asked if there was any way that we could halt production or postpone or do anything. And we tried to figure out if there was something to do, and we really just could not work around it. So we had to rewrite the movie and write out the main character of the movie. And when we did that, the only solution was to make all of the other characters larger roles and make it more of like a supporting, like all the supporting characters had to become larger, and it became more of an ensemble film. And I really feel like that helped the movie in the like long term, because there are so many unique characters that I just don't feel like we would have had time to play with if we were having to make you have an emotional connection to Mark.
Yeah, it's a very fair point.
Yeah. I thought it was fun to, like I said earlier, you guys were definitely having fun, and there's a lot of little
100%.
single throwaway lines that happen, like plug your ears. No, you're the one you hear out of, or whatever it was. It's like, I mean, just little throwaway things like that are just make it kind of fun.
Well, I mean, everybody definitely was having fun. That is for sure. Most of us have worked on a project together in one form or another. So it's like, the guy who played Bishop Moneybags, one of my favorite actors in the movie, Jason Louder, he and I had worked together on a different project, and we both had like super weird characters in that movie too, but we were small roles, and we sat in holding a lot, and we just kind of like chatted with each other, and we both knew that we liked wrestling. And when this movie went into production, he actually did not know that I had anything to do with it, and had been hearing that there was like a pro wrestling movie in production, and was like telling his agent, like, I really want to get in on it, but I just don't know who to talk to. And then he found out that I was working on it. And I was like, what, you want to be in this? Oh, absolutely. Send in your audition. I'll tell the director, like, just what are you doing? And there were quite a few other people, that had worked together on different projects. And so there was like an energy of like, oh, you're there with your friend coming to work every day. And honestly, I definitely feel like it comes through.
I was about to say, I think that helps you overall when you're making something like this, where being in a wrestling setting, everyone having that family-ish mentality, like having a bunch of people that you are really close with definitely helps it come through then. So I agree there.
And plus also the comedy side of it too. You start to figure out like
once you know each other's flows, like
much their sense of humor, and you can there are plenty of times where the night before I would do some rewrites. I'd be like, hey Joey, I know you're gonna kill me, but I'm telling you, this is gonna be a way funnier scene for you.
And you mentioned earlier there was some ad-libbing as well, where people would so then you would decide, okay, let's keep that. That's funny or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the guys that do commentary, they don't get enough screen time, in my opinion, to but they're so funny. Tim Casper and Robert McElroy. So there's a lot of improv that is in the movie that they did, but there was a lot of, they got cast, they started to develop a dynamic, and then they start improving, and then we started rewriting, because you could start to see how they were taking the characters down a road that we were not prepared for, and you don't expect that whenever you're just like, oh, this person's going to be sitting at a table and just talking in the background while people beat each other up.
Yeah.
But they developed a character, and I
was going to say, I think for those parts, for me, that would be actually easier to improv or make up off the fly. Just react to, just have a little fun with. Yeah.
You would think it would be easy, but
not necessarily easy, but in some ways, I guess maybe that's just the way I think too. Is
if you've ever tried to do wrestling commentary,
yeah,
I've tried it before, and I realized how bad I was at it immediately.
Right.
I was like, oh boy, I really thought I knew all of these moves until they started coming at me this fast.
Yeah,
and
and it's like, what do they call that? Yeah. Yeah. What's sad is I watch wrestling like every week, especially WWE and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guys they've been bringing in, they're doing that kind of stuff. That I don't know what that's called, but that's it's like it looks like some sort of this or that. I'm like, okay, they need to work with you. What is
it? Joe on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
No, he's on SmackDown, right? No,
yeah, Joe's on SmackDown. Yeah.
Yeah, he. Every now and then, I'm like, come on, buddy. You're a professional. Come on, man. You get paid a lot.
Yep.
So,
and I was going to say, for the other thing I do, we interviewed a guy who used to be a writer for NXT all that. And he said, a lot of times they don't tell the announcers what they're going to be doing because they don't want them to pre-spoil it by accident. So they do have to kind of work off what they're watching in the ring,
And I think that's really the way you want to do it, because you want it to be organic.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't have that. We didn't get to do everything in one take. So this is all single camera. So our commentary most of the time was Robert and Tim sitting alone. After they've watched all of the matches happen about 90 times, and they've sat there all day, and then everybody is going home, and now they're going to go sit at a table, and we're going to point a camera at them, and then now they have to pretend that those matches are happening again and that they are seeing it for the first time, and they're really excited. And
see, that's
Robert
where it gets hard.
Tim
That's where it gets difficult.
Did a great job doing that.
That's where it would get difficult.
Those real pros right there. Beat that, Michael Cole. You couldn't do that, Michael Cole. Wade Barrett. I'm calling him out.
That's
calling
right.
Him out here.
Yeah.
Now, with wrestling as a whole, is there? Would you say an era of whether it be Raw, WWE, SmackDown, any of it, just a certain era that you feel is one that called to you more, was your favorite?
I mean, I think it should be very, very apparent with my fan letter to the Attitude Era of the Monday Night Wars. That I have a soft spot for where the big boys play WCW. I was a very big WCW fan. I was watching. My grandfather was very mad when Hulk Hogan turned on Macho Man and delivered that leg drop, and he was very mad at Bash at the Beach in '96. I remember him sitting there and just shaking his head. He just couldn't understand why he would do such a thing, and I was with it. I was ready. I was ready for this new version of Hulk Hogan, and I was a very sad kid when WCW went under. I was a fan all the way till the end, even during when it got crappy with Vince Russo. I
cannot stand Russo, and I hate watching him in interviews thinking he knows better than everybody else. I'm like, dude, you destroyed a company.
Yeah. I joke all the time with that was the joke, the running joke on set. I mean, definitely there are some times. Definite spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched the Marks yet. But there's some times where I channel a little Eric Bishop close to the end of, maybe not the end, but the middle of the Marks. So so the spoiler is maybe I get a little bit mean. Who knows? I don't know if it's mean. I think I was doing the right thing. Anyway, but the
Who's
joke
to
on
say?
set the whole time was like, am I being Vince or am I being Eric? Who am I being right now? Because, you know, I'm bringing in, you know, the pyro girls to dance between matches and things like that. And that's definitely some Vince Russo stuff where he's like, that's what we really need is we need some half naked ladies. Are they going to wrestle? No, they're not wrestling.
Yep.
Are you an idiot? No.
I will say that, you know, for all the hate Vince Russo gets, I think when Hogan did the thing where he changed his mind and said he wasn't going to drop the belt, I think Russo got screwed on that deal. I think Russo is correct in saying that they gave Hogan too much power.
Yeah, for sure. But I definitely enjoy the product now, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I really have. I mean, I do feel like the past few years, wrestling as a whole has been just like
the Triple H era, man. I mean, once Vince was out and Triple H could do what he had to do, it picked up a whole lot.
I mean, even outside, even in the elsewhere, you know, wrestling has been, you know, on an upward trajectory for, you know, 5-6 years now. You know, with AEW when they first started, I think that they had a major impact on improving the business because it gave people somewhere to go outside of WWE until Vince was gone. And then now that Vince is gone, you know, Triple H, like you said, he's rebuilding what I guess has been just destroyed over probably the past 15 years.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Yeah.
A couple of the few last PVEs that McMahon was involved in, you could see where he had his hand in, and you're like, no, that's stupid. You know, that's.
We were filming the pay-per-view, as we called it in the Marks, and we were backstage, and Robert, who, like I said, a lot of times was just sitting and watching the wrestling, waiting to do commentary at the end of the day. We would talk about what was going on, you know, in WWE or AEW, because we did have a few folks from AEW pop up in the Marks. I don't know if you caught any of them. They've done, you know, stuff for like AEW Dark and some of they're not any like huge celebrities and stuff like that, but AEW's Danny Jordan was in the movie. I can't remember who else, but we would, you know, kind of talk about what was going on with the product, and like NXT, that's where you could see the future for the longest time. Like, and not just with the talent, you could see what Triple H was doing down there as whenever he was the head of NXT. And that made a lot of us real optimistic, because there was a lot of us that worked on the movie that were fans of wrestling in the 90s, and we wanted to be fans of the current product.
We would hope so,
but we couldn't be, you know, like we were just like, it's really bad, but there are occasional good moments, you know, that's was the mentality. And then it got better and better, and eventually Vince was gone, and here we are.
Yep.
And then, although now there have been some questionable decisions, I was
very much so. Yeah.
Big mad this past week on this R-Truth situation. I'm still.
Turns out it was. And if you listened to, did you watch the after show last night?
I did.
And he's basically saying,
I'm not buying it. I'm not
Triple
buying
H
it.
saying it was a work. I'm like, I don't think so. Yeah.
It's not. No one around the situation is agreeing with that. So everyone that talked to Truth over the past week said that he had been lowballed for over the better part of 2 decades with his contract, and that they were lowballing him again in his contract, and that he didn't take it. And so they were going to let it expire. And that's what he let happen.
Yep.
And so that then when the fans started complaining that talent relations, which by the way, talent relations let him go, not even Triple H. Talent
Right.
relations started reaching out, and then that Truth would not speak to anyone until Nick Khan himself called, and then he said that he would renegotiate his contract. And for the longest time, out of the main roster, Ron Killings was one of the lowest paid members of the roster. And that is absolutely disgraceful because he's a veteran to the business. He absolutely sells merch. He's absolutely a fan favorite. You can hear it every single show that he's on.
Well, because you never know what to expect. And I will say that if you follow him on X, he does the kayfabe, or however you want to pronounce it. I don't even know how to
kayfabe.
Kayfabe. He never breaks character ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's still that shit. You know?
He's an absolute professional,
Yep.
and he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And I think that right now, WWE just got showed who's boss, and that's the fans.
Yep.
And they also got taught a little bit of a lesson in respect.
Yep. This is the second time in 2 years they've done this, though, because remember The Rock in, and he was supposed to have his match with Cena, and the fans were like, bullshit. And so they said, you know what, we're gonna swerve, and we're gonna make it what it should be, which was Cody versus Roman. Mm-hmm. Because they were gonna, everybody wants to see The Rock versus Roman, and the fans all went, no, we don't. Maybe 10 years ago, yes, but now, no.
Fair.
Yeah. You know?
Now, don't get me wrong. I actually wanted to see The Rock versus Roman, but not the way, like, the way that they were going to do it is not the way that I think they made the right choice.
Yeah. There was no story behind it. There was no story behind it. It was,
I wanted to see that a story behind The Rock versus Roman.
That was the same mistake that AEW makes. He does all his dream matches, but there's never a story behind these matches. It's like, we're just going to do it because I want to see it. Well,
you can't just be action figures. You can't just be like a billionaire playing with your real life play pretties, like your little action figures.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is exactly what happens at AEW currently. Yeah. So it's like, stop it. Get some writers in there, please, for the love of God. We want this to be good.
My biggest hope for I guess WWE, aka TKO, is that by acquiring and working out these new partnerships with TNA, AAA, all this different stuff that's coming about right now, is that it kind of starts to become a little more like the territory system.
Yeah.
Where you had people coming in and out. Like maybe the solution is that R-Truth doesn't need to be on WWE TV all the time. Maybe he pops down to TNA. Maybe he pops down to AAA. Maybe he pops into NXT.
Can you see him popping into AAA? That would be fun.
It would be fun. He can be anywhere. And I think that if we had more locations and they were kind of all working together and you could see anywhere, any place, anytime, I think that's a lot of fun,
Yep. And Steve, this conversation's gone weird, but I'm enjoying this because I don't get to talk about this stuff with people. And some people are saying he may be going heel, which would be a fun thing for him to do. Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun. But what I actually would love to see one good run for the title. I mean, could you imagine if R-Truth is who saves wrestling?
Yeah.
If R-Truth is who saves professional wrestling.
And a lot of people don't realize how old Ron is, by the way.
Yeah.
Ron is,
but he's never been the WWE champion.
No. Nope. And he deserves it.
He absolutely deserves it at least once. And I know the plan is that Cody Rhodes, he's the face of professional wrestling right now. He's got to save wrestling from John Cena. He's got to save it. Oh, I don't think that's what the fans want. I think if you really ask the fans who their favorite is right now, if two people got fired right now, and one of them was Cody and one of them was R-Truth, I think it would be a hard conversation with the fans if they had to vote on who came back.
Maybe. I mean, Cody still has a big draw. Cody has
I know
always been.
Cody still has a big draw.
Cody is
does.
still one of my
I think if it
as
came down
well.
to Cody saying, "I'm renegotiating my contract because I think I'm a bigger draw than what they're paying me," I think people would turn on Cody for saying that. I think saying that,
yeah.
that people go, man,
Well,
actually, that's true.
Well,
And,
here's the thing, though. Right now, it's because R-Truth is more fun. He's more fun to watch, and not because Cody's a bad character. Cody's a great person. I think Cody
I don't have a problem with
Cody
with
is
him
what
as a
John
human being.
Cody is what John Cena was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
You know, Cody is.
but I
that
think
I agree.
overall,
Cody really.
I think
Cody.
the fans
Yeah.
would love it if R-Truth
Yeah.
were the one to save professional wrestling, because he's what they call him behind the they call him Santa Claus. It's like WWE fired Santa Claus is what someone said.
I think part of that too is they could go into that because they've been you've been my childhood hero, which is hilarious because Rod is like 10 years older than Cena, but you know.
I mean, there's a lot of people that will tell you that Truth is their favorite wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Pat McAfee talks about how his dad watches WWE just to watch R-Truth.
Yeah, well, nobody watched it for McAfee, I'll tell you that. I can't believe they added McAfee and his crew into that WWE game. I was like, what the hell are you? You really think this shit's going to sell? Nobody cares who he is.
I don't care about his crew being in the game. It definitely was not something that made me want to buy the game. But I will tell you this. I got to respect Pat, because if I were in the position where they were going to put me in the video game and I could have the leverage to go, you can't put me in the video game unless you put my friends in, I would love to do that, because I would love to have some of my weirdo friends in the video game. So good on him for forcing them to do that, because that's what he did. He refused to be in the game unless his friends were in. So
and now they they look at the video and go, okay, are these characters being used? Yeah, nobody's using this shit.
Nobody's using them. A lot of people use them as like characters to beat up.
Okay, you're the jobber. Okay, that's all you're gonna be.
That's all, they literally are. They're using them to job out in a video game. Do you create yourself whenever you play 2K?
Well, I would, but they don't have wheelchairs in there, so no.
Well, why not? They don't. I mean, I would assume they would.
I've been asking, but no, not so far. Yeah.
Because I would assume that, I would assume Linda McMahon.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Or at least give me a crutch I can throw at somebody. It's like
somebody hacked in Godzilla.
Yeah.
Did you see that, where someone hacked in Godzilla into the game?
Yep. I know that a good friend of my the other thing I work on and that I've interviewed a few times, Steve Barton, who was one of the producers for Terrifier 2. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of creations for the horror creations. So if you look up Uncle Creepy in the game, you'll find all the ones that he's created.
Oh, yeah. I like this.
So you're gonna want to check that out.
Yeah. See, I love the whole getting to scan in your face.
Yeah.
Because I'm an actor and I just love seeing my face so much that I definitely have to scan it into the game. But no, it's a lot of fun to be able to. I love that. Like, if you would have been able to tell me back whenever I was playing on N64 that one day, man, I thought that was so realistic. Like WCW Revenge. Man, I thought those graphics were good, boy.
That's right.
If you could have told me back then that one day I would be sitting at my computer scanning in a photo of my ear.
Yeah.
To try and put it into a video game so that way my creative character could look exactly like me. I would have believed you, because that sounds exactly like something I would do.
Yeah, but yes, I have created one that would be like my height and basic build for a wrestler, and being a
Well,
shorty.
we got to get on them. We got to get on them about getting in that wheelchair because
That wheelchair,
like,
yeah.
we definitely need it for Linda McMahon.
Okay, so back to your
Our Secretary of Education.
by the way, I have yeah, this country got dumber as soon as they did that, but whatever. So I was gonna ask, so to me, you guys doing this movie, you missed the thing you could have made fun of. That stupid mullet that the guy was wearing through the whole movie, that had to be a hairpiece, for the love of God.
It was.
You guys missed a chance.
Which, by the way, I got so used to seeing him in that I still forget that that he looks different. Like I see Joey Thurman, who played Jack Dixon.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's got a movie coming out like next week, and I see him in it. I'm like, ugh, what'd you do to your hair? And that's just how he looks. I'm just used to the mullet. Like, I want the mullet. I like it.
I honestly, I was watching toward the end, going, there's got to be a point where he's wrestling and somebody rips the mullet off his head. But no, you never did, which kind of bummed me out. Yeah.
We did lose the mullet a lot while we were in the middle of matches. Chick Donovan ripped that mullet off of his head many times while they were wrestling. But by the way, Chick Donovan, the match that he has with Jack. So Chick Donovan is a real professional wrestler. Wrestled all the way through the 70s, 80s, into the 90s. During the 70s and 80s was, I guess, wrestling for NWA.
Okay.
And wrestled Ric Flair a lot. Like, he was like a chief rival of Ric Flair. And so you can find a lot of old Chick Donovan videos. A lot of times we like to say on set that we wouldn't have had Ric Flair if we didn't have Chick Donovan, because somebody had to put Ric Flair over, you know, and it was Chick Donovan most of the time.
True.
And so Chick is so old school that when he showed up to do those wrestling scenes, and Joey Thurman wrestled for WCW, notoriously, if you look Joey Thurman up on Joey Thurman WCW up on YouTube, you will find a video that's dubbed by the internet the most brutal wrestling injury, and it's the video of him having his spine shattered by Vader.
Oh, ouch.
And there's an entire Dark Side of the Ring episode on it. So that's Joey, and
I had a buddy that showed me that.
And so Chick and Joey, they wrestled for real. Like, all of those scenes, Chick's so old school that he was not going to go in there and just like, well, we're gonna do this spot and this spot and this spot. Chick showed up to set, and he had read that script, and he knew the backstory. That he knew that Jack Dixon was his enemy. He knew that Maggie was Jack's daughter. He hadn't seen Maggie since she was a little kid. So when he saw Laurie, their actress, you know, like the act. What do you? I don't remember. I can't keep up. Are you supposed to do actor or actress? I think you're supposed to do actor. Anyway, actor. You're not supposed to gender stuff anymore. Sorry.
Right.
So when Chick saw Laurie, he walked over and just started talking like they knew each other. Like, man, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you since your dad back in, you know, just started like doing this whole thing. And she did not know what to make of that, but he stayed in that the whole time. So when those scenes, that match happened, they wrestled the match, and then it got to the point where we're supposed to kind of have like this little run-in, spoiler alert. And when that started to happen, Chick took that as absolutely as an insult. Like even though it was in the script, like he was like he was already in. So it's like, all right, these people are you're sticking your nose into my business. So like he cuts a promo on me like mid, like it's not in the movie or anything. Like, it's just like he just starts going off in the middle of this ring, and the cameras are rolling. I tell Joe after the first time, I'm like, do not cut. Do
No.
not cut. If we have to do rewrites because Chick punches me in the face, then we have to do rewrites because Chick punches me in the face. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's go. So luckily it didn't come to that, but he definitely had the energy of
it was there.
Yeah.
it was there.
I will say that the fact that they were really wrestling helped sell this movie, because any of us that are watching this
100%.
movie, if they weren't really wrestling, we'd call it. We would go, the wrestling looks like shit. They aren't really doing any moves. So,
I'm actually really glad to learn all this, because I was gonna ask the question about like how it worked, like trying to do the stunts for all the fighting, but now to know, like, I don't know, there's people like this is just what they do. Like, it makes so much more sense to why it worked the way it did.
Well,
then.
another side of it is there's a lot of wrestlers that they came in and they were going to job out for the actors. One of our stunt coordinator is the actor who played Dumpster Diver, and he is a professional wrestler. And so Dumpster Diver, loses to pretty much everybody in MPWA at some point. And that's because he's the stunt coordinator. So every single actor that had to do a wrestling stunt had to learn it from him. So who better to do the move with?
I mean,
probably the safest way to do those.
His daughter actually was Laurie's stunt double, who was Maggie Lightning. And so there's only one stunt that she did not do. And it is in the finale of the film. And I'm not going to give anything about that away, but but there's only one stunt that she didn't do, and you really can't tell. I think she was just a little scared. It was a very, very safe stunt, but we had the stunt double there, and we were just glad that we'd had her.
Very fair.
So wrestling can be scary. You know what I mean?
100%.
100%. Especially if you are not a, if you're not a wrestler and you're just an actor who's playing a character. Even if we had to go to wrestling school, there was a day where we
I'm happy to hear that.
Treated it, like we were showing up, running ropes. We had to learn that day one. Like
that's see, I will say, for anyone out there, I'm very happy to hear that they went through all that they did as far as like wrestling training, because for all of you, if you've never watched any professional wrestling, or maybe you've just seen a couple things and you're like, anybody could do that. No, the wrestlers will very much tell you, when you do stunts, it's not just you doing it. The person who's doing it with you also is like the person to protect you. Like, they do things and they get messed up, but like they protect themselves and each other because you practice those moves every day, so you know the precise things to do so you don't cause an injury. So I'm very happy to hear that like there was that, at least, because yeah, it's dangerous. There's a lot of things that could go wrong if you don't know what you're doing with the person you're doing it with. So I'm really happy to hear that. I'll be honest. That's really cool.
Yeah. Shelton Carter, who played Super Shotokai, he did his own stunts all the way through. Nice. Not a wrestler at all. His finishing move is the moonsault, and he learned how to do a moonsault.
It's awesome.
Like
that's awesome.
He worked with Brian Alexander, our stunt coordinator, every single day that wrestling was happening, and learned how to do a moonsault, and that was his move. Awesome. There was a time he got hit with a kendo stick, and it was not gimmicked. And that was because we were fine with it being gimmicked, and it was one of those situations where everybody involved in it we've already been filming for quite a while now. We've kind of got comfortable with some of the wrestling stuff, and it's like, okay, well, we've already seen so-and-so do this, and they've been hit with an ungimmicked steel chair. If they can do it, I could probably do it too, Like, I'm not going to be it. So but everybody involved, we were very, very safe with it. And I took the hit too. I was like, well, if I'm here, I'm gonna get hit with the kendo stick. I might as well
That's
get
fair.
hit with it too. And so even the person who was hitting Shelton with the kendo stick was like, well, if I'm hitting him with a kendo stick, I better get hit with a kendo stick so I know how it feels.
Yeah.
You know? And
True.
so it kind of turned into everybody just kind of passing it around and pa! All right, your turn. Pa! All right, your turn. Pa!
And just because I know how,
Sandman would have had fun.
and just because I know how physics works, the difference between getting hit with the flat side of a chair and getting hit with a kendo stick is quite.
Yeah. I think everybody that compared it was they were wrong with their comparison. But,
Yeah. That kendo stick got a sting, even if it is worked. I mean.
Oh
you know.
yeah, it got me good. It got me on a knuckle. I don't know.
Ooh.
There's a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that little lump.
The part
on the
that doesn't
kendo
give.
stick.
Yeah, the part that doesn't give. Yeah.
Well, to round out this little interview here, I have a little something. Since with the main show we cover multitudes of just different pop culture, nostalgia, whatnot.
Yeah.
What would you say overall in your lifetime has been your favorite role a wrestler's taken in a movie?
Oh.
If you say the Tooth Fairy, I'm going to end this interview now. Okay.
That is an American classic.
So I'm going to do the thing that I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna circle back to telling a story about the Marks because I'm promoting the Marks.
There you go.
There was a running joke that got cut out of the movie that was there the entire movie of The Mark. It was in the movie, and then eventually during all the rewrites we had to cut it out. And it was a joke that plays into this. The best movie with a wrestler ever is Three Ninjas, High Noon.
Oh, dear God.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's not. But we had references to that movie peppered through the entirety of The Mark, and it was such an obscure reference, and it was only for like the 3 people that found it amusing on set. And eventually we had to make an executive decision that nobody was going to care about this joke, and we had to cut it to make time for better content. So yeah, Three Ninjas, High Noon at whatever it's called, with Hulk Hogan. The best of the Three Ninjas movies.
I was not expecting that.
Let's see. A movie with a wrestler in it. I mean, The Wrestler was great. That has a lot of wrestlers in it. I mean, R-Truth's in it. Ron Jennings is in it. That's a... I guess there's not... I mean, when it comes to wrestling movies, or movies with wrestlers in it, wrestlers do play wrestlers a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just now noticing that.
Well, then I would have to say, regardless of what I think of him as a person now, Hulk Hogan in the Rocky movie was pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of things have come to light about Hulk Hogan in the past decade or so.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, it's hard to sit there. Oh, I did want to ask about that. The doll at the beginning of the movie, was that was a Hogan doll, wasn't it?
No, that was a custom Jack Dixon
doll. Was it? Because it looked like the old Hogan doll they used to have for a while too.
It was designed by from a drawing that I did based off of an old Hulk Hogan doll, and our prop master Jody, she was so good at her job. Like, there are so many custom things in the Marks. I mean, pretty much every t-shirt that anybody wears is a custom shirt. We tried to do the wrestling thing. Whenever you watch WWE or WCW, everybody's wearing in-universe clothing, and we tried to do the same thing in the marks. So, every T-shirt that I made, or every T-shirt that I'm wearing, even if it has nothing to do with wrestling, it was made by our prop master Jody, and she.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. I got distracted on where I was going with that. But
sorry about that. I had to ask about because the doll did get my attention.
Oh, the doll. Yeah, the doll. That's where it was. So there were 2 of those made in existence, and one I believe is in possession of Joey, who played Jack, and it was like an end of filming wrap gift for him. And then the other one, there was I think there was like a raffle at the premiere, and somebody won it at the premiere.
Nice. But with those little I do like those little touches to detail. The fact that you had shirts made that were just for the movie. You had the dolls made that were just for the movie. I mean, that's details that a lot of filmmakers wouldn't think about.
I agree.
Well, some of it's out of necessity. You don't want to accidentally wear something that gets you sued.
Right.
A lot of times,
as well.
That's where you see people wearing just very indescript, stuff in movies. But we didn't want to go that route because it's pro wrestling. In pro wrestling, they do everything's custom.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It gives it more detail and more credence that you are actually. Even though you're in a backyard, basically, you're still, So, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, we're definitely going to be selling some ASL t-shirts. I mean, like, we get asked all the time for ASL shirts. So that's definitely going to end up being a thing at some point.
My answer for like a wrestler in a movie, it's a very simple one for me, and that I could go the easy route and say that I enjoy the classic Randy Savage and Spider-Man, but I won't go that route.
That's a good.
I'll go that route.
Oh,
I will go.
Phenomenal cameo.
Really is.
Yeah.
Like that's iconic. Like
I love it so much.
I'll tell you my real favorite when you're done. If you.
I was gonna say another scene that just for me stuck with me growing up was Kevin Nash in the Thomas Jane Punisher, because his Russian has yet to be beaten in my mind for anyone that plays an intimidating giant man that smashes through doors and walls and just goes, "I'm here to hurt you now."
I don't remember this. He's in the Punisher.
And the Thomas Jane one from the Thomas, which I actually think
I do not remember him being in that.
Yeah, he plays the Russian. He
the big Russian dude. Yeah,
starts doing stuff to the crime bosses, so they call the Russian. And it's just Kevin Nash smashing through the door. My
and he's got like a buzz cut, movie, so you wouldn't recognize him for being Kevin Nash, but yeah.
My favorite trivia to that whole scene and for that movie, and why it really cements to me that he played that so great, is there's a scene in there where Thomas Jane's character takes a butterfly knife and he stabs him in like the upper torso to like let me go. Fun fact for that movie, they didn't swap out the knife for a fake one, and Thomas Jane and Kevin Nash had no idea. So when he stabs Kevin Nash, you're getting Kevin Nash's genuine reaction of laughing at him and just pulling it back out. Because he's just such a big guy. It's just, that's funny. Didn't really hurt.
I bet Kevin Nash must have wrestled New Jack at some point, so I guess he's used to getting stabbed.
Yeah.
That is just a fun fact for that one, but that's something for me.
Boy.
His entire scene there, that whole bit, I love it.
That's probably
like, come on.
Yeah. Well, no, They Live. Okay, Rowdy Piper.
Yeah. Man, that's a phenomenal.
That's a classic. Come on.
Yep.
Great choice.
Yeah.
making my
That's
my
another
Three
good one.
Ninjas movie look like a
I forgot about the
Yep.
paper. God.
Kevin
No.
Nash. I was stuck in traffic one day years
God.
back, and it will be one of my biggest regrets in life. I was stuck in traffic outside Atlanta, and one of my buddies called me and said, "It's an emergency. You have to get to Kennesaw. The NWO is at Shoney's, and they are signing autographs." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, Scott Hall, everybody except Hulk Hogan was at the Shoney's, and I love Shoney's. Shoney's is my favorite restaurant. And they
you
were
didn't
at the
go?
Shoney's, and I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm like, "How long are they gonna be there?" And they're like, "Till 5 o'clock." And I'm like, "It's 3:45 right now. I'm in Atlanta traffic. There's no way I'm getting there." And I didn't. And I will always regret it. And there's pictures, right? You can look it up right now.
That's upsetting.
Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner, Shoney's, and you can see them all standing there smiling with the Shoney Bear with the NWO t-shirts on and everything. And NWO was right there.
That is upsetting.
I'll never live it down, and I'll never forgive myself. I hate to bring the mood down.
I know.
God.
Tragedy,
Just
you know.
Make it all sad now. Well, if you enjoyed this little episode here, and if Mr. Johnathan Realz has interested you in some way, some fashion, you can support him. Go and find the movie The Marks. Go watch it. Give it a watch. Give it a listen. Give it a rate and review. Help this man, help their project continue, because it sounds like they have other ideas and things they'd like to do. The best way to do that is always support people. So, chop chop, let's go. Go support them.
Well, thank you so much for that, and I couldn't have said it better myself. And I thank you for reading it exactly the way that I wrote it.
He's not holding me hostage. Please don't send help.
I wish I could say the same. No.
No,
This has been
I just
fun.
hold Paul
This has been an odd experience, and that's exactly what I wanted.
He gets it. He gets it. But no, it has been a joy talking with you. At least this was interesting. I've learned some things that I didn't know, and I also got to learn some backstory for the entire movie with extra things that I just didn't know in general with history. So I'm okay with this. I learned some pop culture stuff that I didn't know. We all learned a little something.
And I know that you asked me if anything needed to be cut out. To let you know, cut out everything I've said. Delete the interview. Delete the interview. This is I've hated this.
Broke some contracts. We need to just delete the whole episode.
The Walking Dead people are knocking on my door right now.
They're already breaking down my door.
Yeah. Negan standing out there with Lucille. Okay. We need to have a talk.
But
At
with
least
that,
my
folks,
umbrella's closed.
seriously, go check out his movie, The Marks. Check out his movie, and if you remember from The Walking Dead, then why not just go check it out? You can see him some more. You can see other things that he's done. So go check out Johnathan Realz. Go check out The Marks. Check out the rest of our show if you feel so inclined while you're at it. If you're on YouTube, always like, comment, subscribe. Stay odd, stay happy. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. I'll see you at the family reunion.
Yes!